So for all of the subclasses in this Unearthed Arcana, we really wanted to present magical, wondrous options for our player characters to explore. We wanted to provide a wide array of ways that characters could use arcane magic and explore arcane magic, and just feel like powerful conduits of the arcane magic that suffuses all of our multiverses.
We have 7 subclasses that are returning from previous products. We have the Arcane Domain Cleric, the Arcane Archer Fighter, the Hexblade Warlock is making a return with revisions, and we have the return of the 4 Schools of Magic subclasses of the Wizard that were not present in the 2024 book.
The idea of the tattooed monk goes all the way back in D&D's history. If you remember back to 3.5 in D&D, or maybe it's just me and I'm old, the old tattoo monk prestige class allowed you to use a range of options to cast spells through magical tattoos. We really wanted to bring back that flavor and that feel for 5th edition, and so we have presented a tattooed warrior monk subclass that gains tattoos as the monk gains levels, and those tattoos allow the monk to cast spells and give them special options for using their focus points. The tattoos are separated by category. You can get really cool animal tattoos as you level up. You can get really cool tattoos of natural phenomena, and you get tattoos of things like beasts. And I'm really excited about the beast options because some of the options include a beholder and a displacer beast, and the beholder tattoo lets you fly around, which is kind of awesome, right? And pretend to be a beholder if you really want. Engraving spells on your body is a really fun outlet, I think, for players to be able to harness arcane power through literally markings on their own skins and project that power out in an arcane and wondrous way that is a new way of playing the monk, and I'm really excited to see what people think about it.
So next up in the UA, we have the return of a fan favorite, the Arcane Archer. There's always been a lot of discussion and a lot of love for this subclass, and it's been such a joy to bring it back and bring it forward. Starting off, the Arcane Archer isn't just limited to bows anymore. Now you can use the Arcane Archer's abilities with any weapon that uses ammunition, which means now that pistols and muskets have made their way to the player's handbook, you can be an Arcane Archer with a gun, which is super exciting, and I am very excited to have that narrative of trick shots with my pistols and my muskets. I'm playing into that really arcane sharpshooter story fantasy that I love and I know other people just adore. The other thing that's really exciting about the Arcane Archer is that we have given you more uses of your arcane shot. It's the coolest part of the subclass, and we really wanted to let people use it more often. So we've given you more, and we've given you more improvements as you sort of level up. We have now created sort of this arcane shot die that carries through all your arcane shot options and increases in size as you sort of level up. Rather than just this big jump at level 18, now you kind of grow in size as it goes, and this die sort of ties into all of the arcane shot options and the damage or other effects that it does.
The Ancestral Sorcerer lets you tell stories about characters that are descended from great wizards and mages from throughout D&D's history and throughout D&D's multiverse. The Ancestral Sorcerer allows you to have a connection to that ancestor, whether it's a more recent ancestor or from way back in the character's line, and really channel that energy of that ancestor that fuels your magic as a character and allows you to do fun things that are very impressive and very visual. One of the really fun things about the Ancestral Sorcerer is the sorcery ability that will then provide a lot of defenses based on the ancestor protecting their descendant. And when attacks come into them or they're feeling threatened, that ancestor pops up and says, "Not today, not my descendant."
The Hexblade Warlock has gone through a pretty substantial revision based off of our players' feedback. A common thread of feedback was that they felt the subclass relied too much on the hex spell. So we've pulled things back and we've returned the original Hexblade's Curse ability that it originally had. But we've made it so that A, it can be used more than once, unlike the previous version, and B, it can be integrated into spells that also put a curse on a creature, spells like Hex or the Bestow Curse spell, which is now also part of the Hexblade Warlock spell list. The Warlock is a very modular class, and we don't want to detract from that. But what we can do is provide options and abilities like having a bonus to your AC while you're close to your Hexblade Curse target, or provide bonuses to your concentration saving throws so that when you do succeed on them, you blow up with necrotic power or turn a failure into a success. Things that a lot of playstyles can benefit from, but will feel most rewarding for when you're building towards a more melee-centric style.
What's unique about the Arcana Domain Cleric subclass is that this is a cleric who is passionate about learning arcane lore. It's a divine caster who understands that the arcane is part of the divine and that it's all woven into the multiverse and it's all woven into the energy that they're harnessing to power their abilities. This really allows the cleric to focus on that kind of arcane energy and to be able to cast some iconic wizard spells due to their focus on the arcane and learning arcane lore. So you're casting Magic Missile, you're casting Bigby's Hand, and you're being able to really harness that energy that is inherent in the world and funnel that through your divine casting. It's really a unique style of studying as a cleric that we haven't allowed players to really dive into, and we're interested to see what they are able to come up with. So you can perform all sorts of debuffing and buffing types of abilities while you're casting your cleric abilities. And of course you get access to a bunch of high-level wizard spells, because what is not fun about being able to cast high-level arcane magic as a divine caster?
Redesigning the wizard subclasses that haven't been part of the 2024 book was basically, letting them bake in the oven a little longer. These were subclasses that a lot of players really liked, but also had more comments to say about them in the Player's Handbook survey. So we looked at each feature of a wizard subclass that was present in the 2014 Player's Handbook and really holistically reviewed them and decided what are the things that players really like, what are aspects of it that players really like, what can be updated, and sometimes what can be just wholly replaced.
One of my favorite examples of this is in the Conjurer. One of the highlight features from the Conjurer in its 2014 version is the benign transposition feature. And we know people love that feature. It's a super cool feature. It's so awesome to get to teleport and swap around on the battlefield. So we made that even more integral to the class. We made it so that it improves as you go. You get it earlier. And we really lean into the idea of the Conjurer being the teleportation wizard and being able to either teleport things to it or swap around and teleport around and move the battlefield and rearrange and lean into that kind of almost tactical positioning feel that conjuration magic is kind of intended to evoke. And we took that line of thinking throughout all of the subclasses. I mean, I think the thing with wizard subclasses is that while they do take inspiration from the various schools of magic, they are more than just focusing on that school of magic. They're focusing on a very specific character archetype. For example, the Enchanter is, while focusing on the enchantment school of magic, is intended to be more of a smooth talker, someone with a silver tongue, someone who solves problems via interaction and manipulation and persuasion and deception, rather than an evoker who leans very hard into kind of a blaster, boom goes the dynamite archetype, which
or
is
a transmuter, right?
Which is different from a transmuter who, while leaning into the transmutation school of magic, is someone who looks at a problem and figures out how to alter it or improve or change the shape of the problem itself,
or how to change themselves
or change themselves to fit the shape of the problem. They're the kind of person who looks at a square peg in a round hole and just goes, well, I can transmute the peg to fit the hole.
Exactly.
And so that's the kind of thing that we want to bring forward and really emphasize with these revisions and these revised versions of the wizard subclasses, is really honing in and amplifying what these character archetypes can and should be, and how they can be best exemplified by the game mechanics that we provide to support these subclasses.
If anything, the wizard subclasses are all about taking a personality test. What kind of wizard do you want to be? Do you want to blast? Do you want to change yourself? Do you want to teleport around the battlefield? And the answer to that is probably the answer to what subclass you want to play.
When you get this Unearthed Arcana, I'm really excited for y'all to dive in and really explore kind of these magical possibilities. The wizard has always been kind of this pinnacle of arcane magic, and we've got plenty of options for wizards here, but I'm also really excited for people to see how arcane magic can support other non-magical or stereotypically non-magical classes like the Arcane Archer and even our new monk subclass. I think it's really exciting. I want players to really test the bounds of what magic can do. Magic is so integral to Dungeons & Dragons, and I'm excited to see players sort of weave that into their own stories and figure out new stories they can tell with all these wonderful new archetypes we're introducing.
That's the kind of thing I want to hear about in the feedback. I want to hear about what weird magical stuff you did with these classes that we may have not anticipated.
Speaking of that, we have updated our survey process so that you can give us even more feedback. So remember to check that out as you read through the article and you give us feedback. Keep an eye out for that updated survey process.
It's true, and keep in mind that we read every word of all of the feedback.
Yes,
we take it all very seriously, and we're very interested in what you have to say.
My favorite thing has always been when fans notice what we call the bag of rats problem, where it's like, oh, if you carried around a bag of rats and you just kept reducing the rats to 0, you could keep farming this ability, and that's kind of a problem. And anytime someone brings up the bag of rats problem, it always brings me a little bit of joy, and then we'll go fix it.
Thank you everyone for playing this Unearthed Arcana. We can't wait to see how your arcane classes turn out, and we're really excited for all of your feedback.